Well, son of a monkey. We now got all 9 episodes of WandaVision. The conclusion has arrived. Does it live up to the buildup that this show was doing? Let's talk about it. The answer is yes. Yes, it does.
I just feel you. I can't feel you.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler talk for WandaVision Episode 9 series finale. Oh my gosh, it was a good finale. Now, like I said at the beginning, I wanted to withhold a grade for the season until we got the whole story unfolded. And I think it's kind of hard because I'm bouncing between an A and an A-. There are some things that I wish we got a little bit more of in the end and the conclusion, but then I got to remind myself it's the MCU. It's not just this one show, it's a greater universe. So those things we don't have full closure to might be open doorways to stuff that's coming later on. So I think I'm going to settle with an A because I was highly entertained. And the other day, I went back and binged all the episodes building up to episode 9, and now knowing what I know did make those first 3 episodes that felt very slow to me because I just get past the sitcom gimmick and just give me what is going on here. And now that I know what's going on, it did make those first 3 episodes more interesting. So if you haven't yet watched the show, what are you doing watching a spoiler talk of the finale? Go back and watch it all binged because it is a very interesting story. It's very well done. It's a great exploration of grief and pain and facing truth. And it's a great exploration of Wanda and her character, origin that we get to touch on more than we did in the earlier parts of the MCU. We really get to know her better, and holy crap, we get to see her actually become the Scarlet Witch. So, diving into this episode, I love how it just kicked off right with the action. It didn't dilly-dally, didn't get heavy into philosophy. No, it felt like the third final act of an MCU film where finally we're getting to that action-packed scene, and we just start off right there. Agatha versus the Scarlet Witch. And then she throws that car at Agatha right through the house. She goes over there just like, the Wizard of Oz, like the shoes under the house. She left her boots and Agatha vanished. But then the white vision descends. Oh my goodness. I knew this is a bad vision, right? But still, that tender moment where this vision came up and put his hands on either side of Wanda's face, I couldn't help but have that hope arise that this vision would wake up right then and there. And then he tried to squeeze her head. It's like, no! And then Vision shows up and starts beating the tar out of the white vision. You think you can threaten my mother? And that was just a great epic moment because it's Vision first Vision. I mean, seriously, Wanda and Vision would be the 2 most powerful in the MCU, right? Well, there's probably some more powerful than Vision, but Vision is pretty darn powerful. So to have Vision versus Vision, that's pretty freaking epic. And what's even more epic, though, it's not just them fighting each other in the sky. It's kind of what this built to, because if we just kept that fight going, it could just keep going and going and going. But it was the fact that Wanda began to dissolve the bubble, and our Vision that we got to know in this show began to lose his life and his abilities again. So it continues to build to something more and more interesting. But that part where she brings down the bubble, that in itself is pretty darn interesting. Because in the midst of the action, in the midst of what's going on, we're getting a very interesting story unfolding. Agatha wants the power of the Scarlet Witch. That's pretty obvious. We ended up getting that in the last episode, that she wants that power. She wants to absorb that power like she absorbed her sister's power all the way back in 16, whatever the year was. So now she wants the chaotic magic, the power of the Scarlet Witch. And as far as Wanda's concerned, she doesn't know magic. I mean, she even says it. Nobody taught me spells. This can't be magic. I can't be who you say I am. Like, she doesn't even fully understand the power that she has. And Agatha does, and she covets it. She wants it. See, she wanted to take Wanda and nudge her to the truth and make her face her truth and wake her up from the lie.
To nudge you awake from this ridiculous fantasy that you'd rather fall apart than face your truth.
Not to help her, but to steal her power from her, to understand who Wanda is and how does Wanda have such an amazing ability. So it's all about Agatha's covetousness. Like, she just wants Wanda's power. So every bit of this has been to figure out who she is and how to drain her of her power. And now the time has come and she's gonna take Wanda's power. I thought it was a very powerful scene when they're in the town square. And the way Agatha gets inside of Wanda's head is she cuts the strings of Dottie. And Dottie comes up and says her real name and starts pleading with Wanda. She has an 8-year-old. Please let me hold my child again. Let my child come out of the room. If you want the storyline of school, just let my kid be the bully or something. Just please let my kid out of the room. I mean, my gosh, the way that Dottie pleaded for the life of her child. Wanda couldn't even believe it. The sheer amount of pain she must be in. And she said it in that flashback when we saw her as a kid. After that bomb went off and then the second Stark bomb was sitting there and they were hiding under the bed. She talked about in the sitcoms, you know, when something strange like this happens, normally they wake up at the end of the episode and it's nothing. And you can just see what that town is. The town is the dream, but she wants the dream to be a reality and everything else to be the dream. We've woken up now. Now this is life, and she will do whatever she can to hold on to that. And even here, she doesn't want to believe she's done this to them, that she's caused this town pain. But then Agatha begins to cut the strings on all the town people, and they come running up to her, and it's just interesting because they talk about how they feel her grief. They feel her pain. When she lets them sleep, they have her nightmares. And that's interesting because what it shows is that none of us exist inside of a vacuum. What we do affects others. Yes, this is greatly exaggerated in the character of Wanda with tremendous powers, but the principle is there. She had all of these powers, so in her grief, she created this world and then stepped into it. So she sort of lost awareness that she built this. And as she became more aware that this is all her doing, she didn't want to let it go. And she even made herself believe that everybody was at peace and everybody's fine with it because what great life this is. But we saw evidence throughout the entire show, like that lady who was glitching, you know, trying to, you know, hang that ghost and the tear running down her face. They're feeling Wanda's pain. They're trapped in Wanda's grief with her. I mean, even Monica Rambeau experienced that. But rather than getting mad and wanting vengeance, she felt compassion and would do anything to get in there and help Wanda. And so it's this amazing moment in the town square where Wanda does come face to face with the truth, with not only the pain that she's in, but now her actions are trapping this entire town in the pain that she's in. So to me, that was an incredibly powerful scene and an incredibly powerful moment. And when she faces that truth, she realizes what she has to do. She has to bring down the bubble, which of course then makes our Vision fall out of the sky and he's disintegrating. And I guess I should have thought of this, but I didn't. Her kids come running out to the town square and keel over because she created this family, and now this family is tied to the lie that she created. And it's like, she put herself in this awful position, and it's gut-wrenching to see this. My goodness. And then you have Monica Rambeau. And I was a little bit disappointed in the Pietro fight. It makes sense. So I had a few disappointments with this episode. Now, the disappointments, I'm not going to sit there and say they ruined anything, because they really didn't. It's just, I guess I wanted more, but I'm not entirely sure what more I wanted. So they're minor disappointments. Like Pietro and the super speed. So I already had come to terms with the fact this is not Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. So I've already come to terms with that. So I know he's probably somebody in this town, but I guess I was wanting some sort of super speed fight or something between him and Monica, and instead she was just trapped in his man cave, and then she used her powers and saw the necklace was keeping him under the spell, and she rips it off. And yes, it's cool, it makes sense. And I like that this episode is not overly complex. It wasn't twist after twist and big reveal after big reveal. I'm glad it wasn't that. At the same time, I guess I wish there was a little bit more of a fight, because, you know, then you'd have Pietro and Monica, you would have Vision, and you'd have Agatha and Scarlet Witch, and I think there was a part of me wishing for that, But I'm also not disappointed with what we got. Monica set him free, and then it's fun when Monica comes to the town square, and the boys are taking care of the military, and Hayward comes out and shoots, and Monica stands in between the kids and the bullets, and it's like she turns into this weird goo and traps the bullets, and then the bullets just sort of fall to the ground, and then the one kid catches the bullet himself and kind of flings it down to the ground, and he's like, that's a cool trick. She goes, you got a cool trick yourself. It was awesome to see her powers on display like that, and I look forward to where we're gonna go in the future of the MCU. I haven't read Marvel Comics and her character. I don't even know the name of her hero. You can tell me now, because now we've seen this, and I don't think there's much spoilers left, and we'll see what unique interpretation the MCU gives her character in the future. So you can tell me now, like, what is her hero name in the comics, but I'm looking forward to it because I like her as a character. Her powers are very interesting. And here in the MCU, how she got her powers was very interesting. So, like, it was cool to see her have this moment of face-off, and then Darcy comes and crashes into Hayward as Hayward jumps in his Jeep and tries to get away. And this is also one of my disappointments because Darcy has been gone, this entire time, just trying to drive into the town, and still the military got there before her, and then she T-bones Hayward, and she goes, enjoy prison, and then she's just gone. I mean, the last thing we hear of her is Monica at the end talking about, yeah, Darcy didn't stick around because, debriefings are sad or something, and I'm sitting here going, aren't debriefings also mandatory? You were a huge part of this project, Darcy. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed that she didn't stick around with Jimmy and Monica there at the end. I don't know. It felt like her character's cool, and that was kind of an unsatisfactory ending for her character. And then I remind myself, it's the MCU. We will probably see more Darcy in the future, and it's just fine. But I'm just watching this like, oh, come on, that's really the end of Darcy and WandaVision? But in this final fight, there's a lot of stuff that I find incredibly interesting. So Vision versus Vision. First off, I really like that. I think that's very cool to see two visions going up against each other. But what was really fun is when they got all philosophical, the white Vision, his purpose is to destroy Vision. And Vision goes, yeah, but I'm not the real Vision. I'm just the conditional Vision. And the white Vision's like, I require more. I thought it was interesting how the Vision Wanda created goes up to the white Vision that Sword created and touches his head and releases his memories and his data. That was epic, especially as soon as his eyes set back to normal and he says, I am Vision, and he flies off. It's like, yes, our Vision is back. I think because this Vision did not circle back into the fray or have any other parts in this episode. So I guess as a character, I could get it. The love of his life killed him, and then Thanos rewound time and ripped the stone out of his head. So I'm sure all of that is kind of confusing, and he's got a lot of feelings to deal with. All of his memories have just been open to him, so maybe he's got to sort through his mind, sort through his memories, sort through this new programming that was put in and all of this stuff. So there's probably a lot he's got to sort through. So I guess it makes sense that he would fly away and not return, but that's another minor disappointment that I had. But I guess it's good that he's gone because we really did need the closure between the Vision Wanda created and her as she was bringing the town to an end. So story-wise, I can't fault it. It makes sense. We needed to say goodbye to this Vision, but then again, reminding myself, it's a greater universe. So this Vision is now out there in the MCU. Now we have this awesome idea of what is his future. So I'm excited to see where that even goes. And then you have Agatha and Scarlet Witch. I thought it was cool when she snuck up behind Agatha and did the things and got into Agatha's head just like in Age of Ultron. That was kind of a cool throwback. But then when they're fighting in the sky and Scarlet Witch casts the runes, because when Scarlet Witch was giving Agatha her powers, it's like there is something fishy here. Why did she miss her a couple times and hit, the walls of this world? What is going on? And then when she was like willingly giving her power to Agatha, I was like, okay, is the power going to be too much? Is Agatha going to blow up because it's an overload? So I'm running all the scenarios in my head except for the most obvious scenario, that Scarlet Witch put the runes on the walls of the fake world, so now Agatha can't use her magic. Duh, Durbin, duh. That was a pretty great scene and a great reveal, and a sad fate for Agatha that Wanda made her permanently Agnes, the character that she decided to be. And I guess not permanently. Best part of that fight is when Wanda does the reveal of the runes, and then suddenly she becomes the Scarlet Witch. It's like the full embracing of her power and her identity. In other words, what this show has been building up to. Wanda facing her truth and accepting her truth. Her truth is, she's a frickin' witch. She's a powerful witch. She's embraced her grief. She's embraced her reality. She's embraced who she really is. And it was a fantastic moment to see her be the Scarlet Witch up there in the sky. Frickin' loved it. And then Agatha had that line, "You have no idea what you've unleashed and you're gonna need me." Well, holy crap, what did she unleash? What is coming down the line? I have no idea. And she makes Agatha Agnes and says, "I'll know where to find you if I need you." Good freaking golly. And then the sad goodbye, my gosh, where Wanda knows what she has to do. She has to set the town free. I mean, how do you say goodbye to your kids like that? Kids that you sort of created, I guess, out of your mind and out of that part of the mind stone that exists in you. And now you got to drop the false reality, which I guess erases them out of existence, but kind of not, right? So the real question is, do they have souls? The post-credit scene seems to say that they do. But the point is, how hard is it that she had to say goodbye? And that was a difficult goodbye. And it was very well done, well written, well performed. And then the final goodbye between Wanda and her vision that she created, and him asking, "What am I really?" And her saying, "You're a little bit of my sadness and my hope. But most of all, you are my love, and you were born from that part of the Mind Stone that resides in me." My goodness. Not only is that a sad scene, but it's just the power. It's just incredible. And him talking about how once he was a voice without body, and then he was a body but not a human, and now he is a memory made alive. What will he be next? I don't know. Will they bring this version of Vision back? How cool would it be if they bring this version of Vision back and he merges with the Vision that now exists, who has his memories open him? Like, all of this would be incredibly interesting. So there's a lot of cool future for us in the MCU. On top of the fact, post-credit scene, mid-credit scene number one, is you have Monica, who's called into the movie theater, and we have a scroll! That was cool! Just like the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, suddenly we got a scroll here! I love that. The scroll's like, "A friend of your mother wants to see you. He's up there." You know, up there in space on the ship, which is great, because I want to know what he's doing up there. Why is he up there? Is he up in deep space? Is he just orbiting the Earth? What is Nick Fury up to? So I'm looking forward to that future, and Monica's future up there with the Skrulls and with Nick Fury. What's coming out of that? I don't know. I'm super excited. And then we get to the final end here. Now, this is interesting because it's Wanda alone in the mountains, right? And as she's alone in the mountains, as she's getting herself a cup of coffee or tea, whatever she was making, it goes into the bedroom and we see that she's astral projecting. Now, they dropped the line that she would be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. And here we actually see it. Because you remember Doctor Strange, to astral project, he had to be like lying in bed sleeping, and then his spirit form is reading the book. Well, now we got Wanda walking around making tea or coffee while she's astral projecting as the Scarlet Witch, reading through the spell book. So incredibly fascinating. And then we hear the voice of her children, "Mom, help," and it ends. Son of a monkey, it ends. So overall, I liked it. It was a great finale, and it had a great overall message about facing truth. And sometimes facing truth can be difficult, and that's what it showed us. With Wanda, it was difficult. She didn't want to face reality. She didn't want to face pain. And sometimes truth can be hard to face, because this show kept using the term she needed to face her truth. She had to face her own personal truth. And yeah, she definitely did. But not only do each of us have our own personal truths that maybe we have to face, there is objective truth. There is something that is truly true, capital T, and we got to face truth. And Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And so what I liked about this show is the message of facing the truth, and it may be hard. But the thing that I love when we look at our reality and our truth, no matter how hard it might be to face truth or to face pain in our lives, we don't have to face it alone. Jesus said, "I am the way." So he is the way to heaven. He is the way to God. He is the way to face truth and to do it not alone, but with peace, strength, and confidence, no matter how scary it might be to face truth. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth." He himself is the truth. Just like Wanda created Vision kind of out of her mind. I mean, you go back to Genesis. God made us in his image and in his likeness. And after he made us, he said, it is good. We messed it up. And then he came and redeemed us by laying his life down for us. So it might be difficult to face our pain, to face our mistakes, to face our brokenness. But there's the truth. Jesus laid down his life to redeem us. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He is the life. And when we come to him, we get the Holy Spirit. We get his life imparted to us, and we become new creations. And that is a wonderful truth to face. If you hold to my teaching and you are really my disciples, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So what did you think of WandaVision? Did you like this mini-series, or is it just season 1? I think it's a mini-series. What did you think of this series, and are you excited for where it's gonna go in the MCU? Let's talk about that in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button to become a Durbanian, and hit that bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next MCU review, my next Superman and Lois review, movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.